Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2557 Mediation 1. Tagawa, the representative of the Feathered Serpent clan, hurried over to curry favor. So, you are powerful members of the Dragon Clan. Why are you two only arriving now? Heilong glanced at Tian Chuan and asked coldly, Do I have a habit of arriving early? Yes. Tagawa wiped away his cold sweat and left. Bai Longzi glanced at everyone indifferently and calmly said, The era is collapsing, the seal of the 7 deadly sins is loosening, and the aura of the Drucker clan is becoming active again. If you want to survive this round, stop attacking each other. These words shocked many races present. They certainly knew what the change of eras meant, and they knew the legend of the 7 deadly sins, not to mention the horror that the name Drucker represented in ancient history. However, it's a different story when these words come from the mouth of a dragon. This is not a problem that might happen. This is a problem that is currently happening. Everyone knows about the existence of the Drucker family. But just as everyone knows that the sun has another 5 billion years to live, no one takes it too seriously. But if an authority suddenly stands up and tells you that the sun will go out in a year, would you panic? The 7 deadly sins, the 7 most powerful and immortal kings of the Drucker clan. Are they about to reappear in the world? Although the seal has loosened before, it will still be a long time before it is truly broken. By then, it is uncertain whether we will even exist. But the dragons themselves have said it, which means that day is not too far away. Terrible, absolutely terrifying. The black dragon and the white dragon emphasized one key point. The seal on the 7 deadly sins is loosening, Drucker's aura is reviving, and the true end is just around the corner. Therefore, at this point, it seems extremely ridiculous to be busy with the extermination of 6 generations. Because 6 generations will not threaten their survival once Drucker's 7 deadly sins are revived. The appearance of any one of them will cause more than 99% of life on Earth to wither away. Heilong Yuanjing continued, What you are fighting for now, is it land? Or is it the dominance of the new era, or the qualification to be the angel guide for 7 generations? However, all of this means nothing to Drucker. His gaze fell on Manchi of the Abyss clan. Your actions are equally meaningless. The words themselves weren't obviously angry, but the oppressive aura they exuded was undeniable. The Abyss clan's Manchi's eyes darkened slightly, finally revealing a hint of dissatisfaction regarding his appearance for the first time. His semi-solid body rippled slightly, like a ripple spreading across the surface of the deep sea. He responded calmly, We, the Abyss clan, do not accept orders delivered in this tone. He didn't raise his voice, and he didn't even have a provocative expression. He was simply stating a factual refusal. We are not subordinates of your dragon race. We won't actually stop just because you say stop. Especially not for a 6th-generation human. When he said the last 4 words, his gaze finally fell on Zhang Yi. If he wants to monopolize the remains of the Sword Knight, then we have the right to interfere. If you choose to favor 6 generations, then for us, that's a matter of stance. Several eyes flickered in the crowd. That's right, he made his point clear. If the Dragon Clan openly sided with Zhang Yi at this moment, it would be a declaration of their stance. This will cause many ancient races to rethink their approach, whether the dragon race is still worth winning over, or whether they should be wary of it. The tension in the air became extremely sharp. Bai Longzi Yuanma's gaze finally fell on Meng Qi. There was no murderous intent in that glance. But the moment he stared at me, even time seemed to be compressed, and the light seemed to tremble. He said calmly, I never thought that the so-called 6 generations were inferior to you. In my eyes, you are an ant too. The phrase ants was uttered with a calmness bordering on cold politeness. There was no outburst of anger, no roaring. He was simply stating the hierarchy. The expressions of many races changed drastically. The Abyss clan's pupils finally constricted, and his body experienced a sudden and violent fluctuation in that instant. The Abyss clan is incredibly powerful. No one has ever dared to speak to them like that before. Although the dragon race once dominated the world in the previous era, the Abyss race was also the overlord billions of years ago. They have not appeared for hundreds of millions of years, hiding in the cracks of the earth or space. Who is more noble than whom? He wanted to make a move and demonstrate his power. But he hadn't had a chance to really retaliate. Bai Longzi has already raised his hand. He simply raised his hand, without making any exaggerated movements, without releasing energy over a wide area, without any earth-shattering roaring moves, and there were almost no energy ripples. He simply flicked his fingers and gently pulled the air upwards, as if a human were casually parting a wisp of air. The structure of the world was forcibly twisted. It's no exaggeration to say that the space itself has been captured. All is emptiness throughout the ages. The next second, the Abyss clan's Manchi was as if he were hooked by an invisible hook and was dragged dozens of meters away from his original spot. There was no displacement process during the journey. He was instantly moved to the designated location. It's space that's changing. Zhang Yi recognized the scene all too well. He had the same feeling when he first met Bai Longzi a few years ago. He can fold and shrink space, pulling people from a distant place directly in front of him, leaving them nowhere to hide. Monkey was pulled to Bai Longzi's side, like a toy. For the first time, terror appeared in his eyes, because he discovered that he had no ability to resist Bai Longzi's restraints. Bai Longzi's hand was clasped around his neck. Just hold it in place. It wasn't broken. No headshot. They didn't tear him apart, nor did they kill Manchi on the spot. But all the night-level powerhouses present could see that it was not a simple grab. That was something even more terrifying. Bai Longzi is telling everyone something. You can struggle, but if I want to kill you, it only takes a single thought. What's this? This is a permission requirement. This is even worse than I defeated you. It means I didn't take you seriously at all. Your life is as insignificant as dust in my eyes. At the same time, all the representatives of the alien races looked on in shock. Some race representatives even lowered their heads on the spot, no longer daring to look directly at the two dragons. Kong, from the Celestial clan side, trembled slightly and murmured, "Still the same level, still the same level." The Dragon clan's strength is still terrifying. Like the Dragon clan, the Celestial clan belongs to the 5th generation of the Yihuan clan. Atmospheric creatures live above the clouds and can control clouds and rain, so in ancient times, many people believed that they were also a kind of dragon. Gu Shan of the Ironclad clan swallowed a dry breath, his face turning unusually pale. Even Zhang Yi, who had just suppressed 4 night-level powerhouses, was experiencing a rapid heartbeat. What did he just see with his own eyes? Bai Longzi Yuanma simply reached out and lifted Meng Qi of the Abyss clan, the powerful figure who had almost suffocated him just moments before, like a chick, leaving him with no ability to resist. Bai Longzi showed no signs of strain in doing all of this. Chapter 2558, Mediation 2. Zhang Yi took a breath. He had thought that he had a basic understanding of Bai Longzi's strength, but now it seems that his imagination is still somewhat lacking. He even whispered something, his voice unusually solemn. So strong. He Longyuan heard this, turned his head to look at him, and the corner of his mouth curved slightly. That bend wasn't a mockery. It's almost like a form of recognition. However, Zhang Yi soon realized that it was not surprising that Bai Longzi was strong enough. Because of the Dragon clan, there exists a Fushi. He is an immortal being who has lived from the previous era to the present, possessing boundless wisdom. Bai Longzi possesses exceptional talent, and given that he has been personally nurtured by Fushi for many years, it is not surprising that he is incredibly powerful. Bai Longzi Yuanma's hand was still resting on Mingqi's neck. He did not kill Manchi. However, Monkey's entire supernatural field was shrinking at a visible rate. His abyssal suppression, that ocean-like domain power, was as if it were being squeezed into a ball by an invisible hand, then into a point, and then pressed into his body. From the scene, it looks like someone has forcibly stuffed a whole ocean into a single drop of water. Bai Longzi then spoke, his tone still calm. Listen carefully. The end of an era is not the end of the world. The end of an era is the beginning of a selection mechanism. Who stays, who gets purged, who gets cleansed, who gets recycled, it's not up to you little tribes to decide. He looked at the representatives of all the ancient civilizations and races. It's determined by that batch of products. The Druckers, they're coming back soon. He slightly raised his chin, gesturing to his surroundings. If you continue to fight each other here, and continue to think about using each other as resources or spoils of war, then soon, they won't even have the qualifications to be selected. Because in the eyes of a more advanced civilization, you can't even touch the edge of a sieve. The entire room fell into a deathly silence. The two supreme beings of the Dragon Clan descended, and with just a slight move from the White Dragon Prince, the powerful Abyss Clan member, Meng Qi, was bound like a dead dog. This strength instilled awe in everyone present. At the same time, the way they looked at Zhang Yi and the others began to change. Some of the representatives of the alien races suddenly realized and murmured, "No wonder this guy called Chaos is so confident, even daring to bring out the remains of the Sword Knight. It turns out he has a powerful backer." Now everyone understands that Zhang Yi has been tacitly accepted by the Dragon Clan as one of their own factions. Representatives of many races made a decision in their hearts. They must never easily provoke a conflict with the Huashu Kingdom, represented by Zhang Yi, in the future. After all, challenging the will of the dragon race is tantamount to courting death. Many racial representatives quickly changed their stance, their faces becoming solemn and silent. They didn't back down. Instead, they are weighing whether it is worth continuing this current struggle. The answer is obvious. It's not worth it. Survival is what matters. The Abyss Clan's Manchi was released by the White Dragon Prince, and he was suspended in midair again, his body still trembling slightly. His expression didn't get out of control, but a rare gloom finally appeared deep in his eyes. He stared at Zhang Yi for a moment, his gaze calm and focused, as if he were reassessing the value of this sixth-generation human. Then he didn't continue with his threats. He simply withdrew that deep-sea-like pressure and remained silent. After being stared at by Manchi's cold gaze, Zhang Yi's heart couldn't help but pound. It seems he has thoroughly offended this powerful member of the Abyss Clan. Manchi will blame Zhang Yi for the humiliation Bai Longzi caused him, but Zhang Yi had nothing to regret. After all, it was Meng Qi who flew the dragon first and got the upper hand. Now that he was being slapped in the face by Bai Longzi, he deserved it. The Nightmare Clan member, Yi Nian, was still kneeling on the ground, the black mist trembling. His mental state was trying to restart, but each time Ling's gaze pushed him back to square one. His teeth were grinding together, clearly from an unprecedented sense of humiliation. Someone chuckled softly, their schadenfreude undisguised. Remember this? The remains of the Sword Knight are not for you to touch. Ling then slowly turned her head and withdrew her gaze. Suddenly, he gasped for breath, cold sweat trickling down his forehead, looking like a drowning person being pulled out of an abyss. He didn't continue to clamor for research, but simply gave Zhang Yi a deep, complex look. That look wasn't just simple hatred, but a cold assessment. His eyes seemed to say, "You, a sixth-generation human, have obtained such great power, but it does not belong to you. It will bring you disaster." The atmosphere in the venue was completely dominated by the dragons. This kind of suppression truly redefines the boundaries of power. With the dragon suppression, the parties quickly reached a preliminary consensus in amicable terms at the following meeting. First, the territory of Huashu Kingdom cannot be divided, because it is also the territory of the Dragon Clan. Secondly, Ling should not be coveted. Her sovereignty rests with Zhang Yi. Third, the Dragon Clan has clearly intervened in the contemporary political landscape and openly taken sides. Fourth, all races should temporarily set aside their disputes. Territorial allocation can be discussed in detail, but large-scale war should be avoided. This is because their true enemy in the future is not the sixth generation of humans, but the Druk gods. Although the sixth generation of humans knew very well that with the emergence of all races, there would inevitably be friction in the future. But at the very least, the sixth generation of humans will not be the first to be wiped out by all races. Therefore, the representatives of various countries and forces finally breathed a sigh of relief. Zhang Yi stood there, took a deep breath, and looked at He Longyuan Jing and Bai Longzi Yuanma. Thank you both. I, Zhang Yi, and the entire Huashu kingdom will never forget the kindness of the Dragon Clan. He said it very seriously. Bai Longzi merely glanced at him and replied indifferently, "No need to thank me. One day, all of this will have to be paid back." Zhang Yi's smile was somewhat helpless. Bai Longzi was as stubborn as ever, but soft-hearted as ever. If the Dragon Clan gives any orders, I will do my utmost. Zhang Yi didn't mind being snubbed. After all, the other party had the upper hand. Hailonji Wenjing added in a low voice, which sounded like an echo from the depths of the earth. Zhang Yi, the Huashu kingdom is now qualified to sit at the table of all races. Although it can only be considered a bottom-tier country, at least it has some ability to protect itself. The dragons cannot protect you forever. Next, it depends on how long you can hold on. The longer you can hold on, the longer you will live. If you can't hold on, that's another matter. Zhang Yi was somewhat surprised. The Dragon Clan has already openly supported our Huashu kingdom, so who would dare to defy your will? The Black Dragon gave him a deep look and warned, "The dragon race is not invincible. For more than 4 billion years, countless ancient civilizations and races have been lying dormant. There are some exceptionally powerful races, no less so than the dragons, who simply disdain attending meetings of this level and therefore have not shown up. But behind some of the lesser races, there must be their involvement. They were also observing everything from the shadows." Here ends today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive. Thanks.
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Post-apocalyptic manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.